Welcome. I'm Jan Marini, the founder of Jan Marini Skin Research, and I'm here with Anne. And actually, Anne is revisiting. We met some time ago and did a consultation, put you on a program, and we're going to talk about the results that Anne has seen.
Mm-hmm.
So when I originally met with Anne, one of the questions I asked you was the type of skin that she had. And she said her skin was dry. And I kind of asked her some additional questions like, are you dry everywhere? Do you have any oil in the T-zone? But she definitely had a dry skin.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the most important questions that you can ask, whether somebody else asks you this or you ask yourself, is if there's something she could change or improve about her skin, what would it be? And you mentioned fine lines and wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned crow's feet.
Mm-hmm.
And lines between the eyes, lines on the forehead. And you talked, I think, a little bit about sagginess and contour
Mm-hmm.
and neck and texture, those kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
general kinds of things. And so we discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm always careful to kind of delineate is whether or not the lines and wrinkles are actually sun exposure, because most of what we see, 95 to 96% of what we perceive as inevitable aging is sun exposure. And it just takes 10, 20, 30 years for it to actually manifest itself. But most of it happens before the age of 10, at least 50% before the age of 20. But then there's something called dynamic muscle movement. And dynamic muscle movement, even if you lived in a cave, that comes from expressions. It comes from just facial movement. And that would be like this crow's feet area, the parentheses lines between the eyebrow, forehead lines, those kinds of things. And that's when people have neurotoxins injected, which is Botox. It actually sort of semi-paralyzes or relaxes the muscles that are overworking temporarily. And when that happens, the crease in the muscle goes away, and so you don't see a line on the face. So I'm not trying to sell everybody Botox. I should get a commission. But just so that realistically people understand what you can accomplish and what you can't accomplish, so we can soften that. But overall, we were talking about skin rejuvenation. And skin rejuvenation, in my mind, encompasses virtually everything that people want to address. It could be acne, it could be rosacea, it's maybe textural changes, it's large pores, it's fine lines, it's discoloration. It's all of that. Because we want skin that looks glowing, and we want it to look healthier, we want it to look more youthful, we want it to look more contoured, et cetera, et cetera. Need I say more? So anyway, we talked about those concerns and kind of really addressed what was reasonable in terms of expectations and what might not be. Then I talked to you also about the products that you were using. And so we went through that. Now, what I did, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So what I did is initially, I recommended the skincare management system. And the skincare management system is the basic system. That's the powerhouse system. I always say we should all be on the same system, but we might be on it for different reasons, because there are things in there that can actually address multiple skin concerns. So she was on the dry skin system. And then I recommended also to you at that time Luminate Eye Gel. Luminate Eye Gel is literally my favorite under eye product. And it was originally developed for people that have dark circles. Now, I don't have dark circles, and I don't think that that was necessarily one of your primary concerns. But as we age and that skin becomes thinner and the blood vessels are more prominent, and it just doesn't have that same luminosity. And so this makes a huge difference in terms of the appearance of fine lines, the appearance of contour. It just makes the eye area look a lot more luminous. I also recommended Luminate Face. Now here again, Luminate Face, one of its primary areas that addresses is discoloration. And so, Anne, you weren't necessarily targeting discoloration, but everybody over the age of 35, 100% of humans are going to have abnormal pigment. And even though you may not have obvious freckles or brown spots, there's something called background pigment. And when you look at a picture of somebody in their 20s and you look at a picture when they're 30s, 40s, or 50s, the skin just doesn't have that same translucency. It does not have that same glow, that sort of porcelain look. So when your skin reflects light, it makes it look so much more youthful. And when it has that translucent appearance. And Luminant face lotion has two components. So one component has to do with evening the skin tone, but the other component is retinol. And retinol is literally one of the most powerful ingredients that we can put on our skin for the appearance of aging. The two ingredients that have more medical data than virtually anything else in the world are retinols, retinoic acid and retinol, glycolic acid. So that was an important component. The other thing that I added to your program at that time was Hyla 3D. Now, Hyla 3D is a game-changing hyaluronic acid product. Hyaluronic acid has been around for years, but this is something where these are tiny molecules. And it really helps with the appearance of volume. I always hear people say it's like somebody took the air out of my face. Volume can be as much as 50% of what we perceive as the aging process, loss of volume. And when your skin is volumized, the highest point is the cheek area. And the cheek pads are nice and high. And it narrows down into a well-defined jawline. As we age and the cheek pad moves down, you start to see a smile line. And then you see, as it moves down further, you see a nasolabial fold. And finally, you can turn that triangle upside down because the widest point of the face is going to become the jawline. And not only is that a part of the aging process, but it causes the female face to become more masculinized in facial appearance. So the cheek pads in that high defined area most defines femininity of anything on the female face. So as it moves down and it flattens, it becomes more masculinized in appearance. So that's something that we want to focus on. The other thing that I recommended was the Juvenec. And Juvenec, in fact, you can go to our corporate website and you can see some really dramatic before and after pictures, but it makes a huge difference in the appearance of what we call necklace lines. So sometimes people refer to necklace lines like the rings around the trunk of a tree. And you get sort of that kind of grainy, chickeny type of skin. It can make a huge difference in that. Sometimes people say their skin sort of gets leathery, but also in the appearance of contour. Finally, I recommended, I'm not speaking in the third party, I recommended Cleanzyme and Skinzyme. Now, it is so important in a program to have adequate resurfacing. And you really want to resurface, I call it almost to the tipping point, because you don't want to get inflammation. And a lot of resurfacing products that are scrubs don't know the difference between live skin and dead skin, and can actually create inflammation and can actually sort of have a negative effect on trying to achieve skin rejuvenation. So it's so important that we have a lot of resurfacing. But Cleanzyme and Skinzyme are proteolytic enzymes, and they can only go after dead or diseased tissue. And they literally digest dead and diseased tissue, but they can't hurt normal living tissue. So they're smart enzymes. And when you use them, it's one of my favorite products because it's instant gratification. It just makes your skin look like glass.
It does. It does.
So that was the program initially. And these are the products that Anne took home with her skincare management system. Now, I checked back with you, right? And one thing I want to mention. So this may seem like a lot of product. And I'm going to get into what we added into it. But during the consultation, I always ask individuals, I asked Anne, what does she use in the morning? What does she use at night? Went through all of her products. And it's not really that I'm criticizing her products or editorializing on, and telling that everything you're using is wrong. It's nothing to do with that. But I really want to get an idea of how much time she spends on her skin and how sophisticated she is in terms of product use. And if somebody is just using soap and water and a sunscreen, or they're using, a cleanser and a moisturizer and a sunscreen, then probably I'm going to start them a little bit more slowly because I really want them to start to see results. And then they're going to be much more motivated to continue on and enhance upon that. So you had a very sophisticated regime. So talk a little bit about some of the things that you were using.
Well, for the hydrating cleanser, I would use the Clarisonic Pro just to make sure I was getting a deep cleanse from that. Then also the Perricone DMAE firming pads, using moisturizers, definitely resurfacing gels in place, I guess the resurfacing product. Neck creams, I was using night creams, Strivectin eye creams as well. So there was a lot of product going on there.
And you were also using a device called New Face.
Yes, the New Face device as well for toning and firming.
Which you start off using every night, and then you can use on a less frequent basis to kind of maintain. So anyway, I remember making my list in the AM and the PM, and it was quite a list. So I knew that this wasn't going to be any more than she was used to using. And plus, even though this may sound like a lot of product, it goes very, very, very quickly. And obviously, with anything, what motivates you is that you look in the mirror and you see something different. You see something better. Talk a little bit about your results.
My goodness, from the very first night that I started using the product, it was like taking in a cool drink of water. I noticed just the hydration and moisture immediately, and I wasn't expecting immediate results. By the time I had the siesta, that just turned my skin into velvet. Velvety smooth. I loved the fragrance of that. It just has this beautiful scent to it. It was aromatherapy for me. It's a calming
it's
agent.
Actually, it's a kiwi. It's a kiwi extract.
I love it. All the way down to the BioClear, the moisturizer. It just felt like, was this going to get heavy? And it did not. It just kept building in this rich, lush feel. And even my husband, the very first night, he couldn't believe it. He's like, "Oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing." There was already a glow and this velvet touch to my skin immediately.
One thing I want to add is that so many times I hear people say, even though the basic system is a cleanser, a sunscreen, and 3 products, that they feel at the end no more than if they had used their normal, maybe 1 or 2 products. So it never feels, as you said, it doesn't ever feel heavy.
No, not at all.
And then, so that was your initial response, that you had the hydration and just that you could see something in your skin in terms of the texture. As time went on, over the next few weeks, what did you see?
I want to start first the décolleté area, what I thought was a larger leathery texture. Again, that tone and appearance became hydrated and just was a dramatic appearance right away for me. And then I noticed those pearl necklace lines diminishing, still noticing that. The firmness up through the neck was pretty amazing. The Hyla has been a great game changer. I can tell from my skin. It adds to the overall moisture and retention I feel that I'm having. I loved for the lip, because those lines are diminishing. That was like a huge factor for me. Again, it's the softening of the fine lines for the crow's feet for sure. The forehead, I've got that smooth texture. The softening of the fine lines. Again, hydration is key. It's clear in appearance. When it comes to firmness, I definitely have noticed increased firmness overall, skin and neck.
What about contour in terms of your facial contour?
Oh my gosh, jaw, the contouring around the cheek area, and I would say it's firming through the neck as well. Contouring, I'm saying I'm starting to see a little more around the eye.
And if you'll notice that if you've seen the original session that we did, and also in terms of talking today, it's really about what you want to change or improve. Things need to be very targeted. You should see a result. You should be selecting products that actually have the ability to make a difference in specific concerns, because so many times we come across a moisturizer or a product that sounds really dramatic, but it's kind of vague or it's generalized. What is it that we're actually trying to target? Is it really going to get rid of our acne? Is it really going to have an effect on the texture, the pore size, etc.? So that's really what we were trying to do. And you're able to see specific difference in the areas that she was concerned about. Now, what we did as time went on, because I wanted to see where your skin would settle in
Mm-hmm.
and the results that you're getting, added in a couple of things. So one of the things we added in, which you already mentioned, I added in something called Hyla Lips. And it's a complement to the face product. So not only does it actually help with the appearance of volumization, because at the age of 60, about 80% of all females are going to lose what's called the show of upper teeth. Your upper lip actually elongates, turns under, it flattens, and the vermilion border diminishes.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really annoying are those lip lines. Lip lines, even in the 20s, even if they're really, really fine and you can barely see them, your lipstick can bleed into them. And as we get older, in many females, the lip lines are very, very noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that it really does disturb a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So the Hyla Lip product is designed not just to go on the lips, but it goes all the way around. It makes a huge difference. I always say I can wear red lipstick all day long. It doesn't bleed.
Amazing.
Huge difference. So the other thing that I added into your program is I added in something called Luminant Face Mask.
Mm-hmm.
And Luminant Face Mask is something that Anne can alternate with the Cleanzyme and the Skinzyme. Luminant Face Mask is more like a traditional face mask and it sort of dries like a clay mask. But what it has in it, it has some very powerful, what we call tyrosinase inhibitors that help with the appearance of pigment. And it also has resurfacing agents. So it resurfaces the skin as well, so that you notice a difference in the refinement of the appearance of pores and just the overall texture and everything. But it reinforces that clarity and that brightness. And again, the brighter the skin is, the clearer it is, the more youthful it appears. It's the way that the light bounces off of the skin, because you tend to see the areas of the face that are pleasing, but it disguises or diminishes the areas of the face that you don't want people to see. It's like good lighting. So that was kind of something I know. Tell me what happened when you started using the Luminant mask. I know that you mentioned that was...
Yes, I saw the pores diminishing, and then that brightness definitely was there. Very different from Skinzyme Enzyme, where again you get this cleaner feel to your skin and that velvet finish. So brightness, velvet finish, hand in hand, it's a win.
Yeah, they really do. Even though they're both resurfacing products, they kind of definitely make have a different approach.
Yeah.
So these are the products that I accelerated her program with. Okay. So tell me, what else would you like to add?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know what I can add. I guess, can my skin look any better than what it already is? And that's what I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the long term, because the results have just been amazing. Again, having used product beforehand and thinking you're getting results, and when you try something else, especially the skincare line here, Jan, it's just really been a transformation to my skin, appearance, the texture. And again, like I say, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen 6 months down the road, even to the lines coming into winter, when I'm going into more heated climates. What is that going to do by way of will it dry? I think it's going to hold the retention of moisture. So I'm just truly excited to see, how can it get any better than this?
Well, you have a good point. Usually with the JMSR products, people always see an immediate difference because resurfacing is something that does make a difference right away. And you progressively see changes over time. But because we look in the mirror every day, we kind of think that our skin is plateaued. However, you will continue to progress. And I would venture to say that if people haven't seen you for a while, they're going to comment on it. And that's usually what happens, is that we may get used to seeing these changes. And it's not like you take these huge leaps every single time you put your products on, but it's progressive over time. So it does get better. And that's exciting, because usually we think in a depressed, sad way that we are just, the only thing we have to look forward to is just the aging process. But really what Anne is doing is she's actually reversing the appearance of what has been programmed into her skin. Now, she'd never had sun exposure. And if you were never a sunbather, and you were, like I always say, living in a cave, then her skin would probably look even far younger than it looks right now. But the good news is that we can address a lot of that.
Nice.
And it's really about using topical agents that can truly make a difference. And I'm going to kind of give something away because I have one last product that I'm going to accelerate Anne's program with. Well, it might not be the last product, but next product. And that's something that's called Age Intervention Regeneration Booster. And Booster is a phenomenal product that I like to say is sort of like our master control panel. Because while there are certain anti-aging kinds of things that address various issues and may selectively kind of target into certain areas, Booster is something that really almost addresses everything. And it's kind of the icing on the cake. There is a peer-reviewed medical study on Booster. And I encourage you to go to the corporate website and you can see before and after pictures and get a lot more information. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it continues to progress.
Nice.
And it's really been a pleasure working with you.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.